Hello everyone, this is Alejandro Marin and today I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic which is the one related to teacher's identity. So in order to start with, I want you to ask you this question. So what's your language teacher identity? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think of your answer. Now, if you struggle a little bit to define what teacher identity is because the concept is too broad and then it involves a lot of factors as many authors have agreed. Um, it is a relevant and emerging aspect as we can see when we go to any conference or when we go to a symposium. At least one of the presentation is related to this topic. So in order to have like a better definition and a better understanding of what the identity is, I'm going to base my presentation on this book, which is Reflection on Language Teachers' Identity, research edited by Gary Barkhuizen, who collects the ideas and the thoughts of different authors such as Norton, Benson, Nelson, Matsuda, Borg, and Noonan, and so many others. So they created, they concluded like a definition, a very general definition of what the teacher's identity is. This is the composite conceptualization of language teacher identity, which says that language teachers' identity are cognitive, social, emotional, ideological, historical. They are both inside the teacher and outside, in the social, material, and technological world. So language teachers' identity are being and doing, feeling and imagining a story. They are struggle and harmony. They are contested and resisted by self and others, and they are also accepted, acknowledged, and valued by selves and others. They are core and peripheral, personal and professional. They are dynamic, multiple, and hybrid, and they are backgrounded and foregrounded. And language teachers' identity change short term or over the time discursively in social interaction with teachers, educators, learners, teachers, administrators, and the wider community. And in material interaction with spaces, places, and objects in the classroom, institutions, and online. So, in order to have this very, to get a better understanding, so I divided this in 7 parts. So let's start with the first one. The one that says that these authors conclude that teachers' identity is something cognitive because teachers try so hard to understand themselves, who they are, who they want to be, and who they fear to be, as well as it includes our beliefs, our theories, philosophies, and also the language and the pedagogical knowledge we all have. Also, the identities are social because they are enacted, they are constructed, negotiated, and projected with um, different people. For example, with students, with teachers, with policymakers, and even with our colleagues within different spaces, such as the classroom, the school, the society, and even the teachers' community. They are emotional because they involve our hopes and desires, and also is ideological and historical because it is based in our experience and how that experience has shaped the way we are now. And also it involves the thoughts we have regarding to the rights and the wrongs in the and practice of education. So the second part explains that the identities are something inside. So they are like very particular of ourselves. So it implies our physical body, our cognition, our emotions, and as well as our biography. As well, they explain that they are outside. So it means that everything related to the environment, the job circumstances, the setting, the classroom, the materials, and basically everything that is related and it is around us affects our identities. In the third part, we they say that Identities is not something that you belong, something that you have, like an object, like a physical object, but it's more something that you do or you perform. So the identities are relational and they change. So we can say that they change and adapt depending on our feelings and also uh, on our past experiences. How those experiences are reflecting in our present and how we can uh, project ourselves in the future. In the fourth part, it says that they say that uh, identities are constructed by multiple selves. That means that they are um, always in a conflict of harmony that, well, they can coexist in harmony or in conflict, and that depends on the role we have in education. For example, if we are teachers or if we are assessors or if we are the head of departments, so different positions implies that we use different identities. So the identities also emanate from the external power and also from um, some impositions of duties and of goals. So we always try to negotiate um, in order to find harmony with our identities in order to reach those goals and to be legitimized within the community, in this case our teachers community. Now, as we know, identities are multiple, and multiple identities so are very, very dynamic. So we always try to construct and negotiate um, the identities uh, depending on the situation and the person we are interacting with. So it means that we always try to, we always are like in a dilemma to what identities use for ground and which ones use the background, you know, and then that is going to be affect the way we relate with the other people. It's important to notice that the identities are always in influenced by each other and they are interconnected. Also, in this case, gender plays an special role because it can be core or it can be peripheral. Gender, as the way I recognize myself and the way I see myself, in this sense, it can affect the sense of self of other, and then it can affect, well, the relationship we have with our students, with other teachers, with the coordinators and the stakeholders in the education, in the educational setting. Um, Also, these authors explain that identity is something um, that is constructed discursively in the society. It means with the relationship we have with people from different social structures, and also they change over time due to our pedagogical experience and the practices. Okay, so they are accumulated and they evolve through the time. And finally, they state that identities are constructed by the interaction of uh, teachers, human objects, and also the ecological spaces. So in this case, when we talk about um, well, ecological spaces means like everything is surrounding us, but also when we talk about our classroom, um, depending on the materials, the technological materials, and everything we have, that also can affect the way we teach. And uh, well, and then it affects our construction of identity. And also, they state that it imbues with the possibility that we can learn from our students and as well we can learn from the environment. But how can we learn from our students? So I found a topic which is very particular, which is the one related to learner investment. Um, this concept is coined by Norton with Darwin in 2015. They created like a diagram where they explain, first of all, what is the investment. So as you can see here in the diagram, they place investment of the learner in the middle, and then there are three different elements, which are identity, ideology, and the capital. Well, identity is basically what we already know now. Yeah, so all these aspects that affects the way we are. The ideology is more linked to the set of beliefs regarding the conditions we are we made part of, and also the capital is regarding to all those economic and symbolic resources we have as humans. So they three combined, and the interaction of these three elements create the positioning, which is a very subjective way of someone um, to feel very comfortable in a place, in this case in the classroom when we talk about the learners. Also we have the ideology, which is like those beliefs who every person have, um, and then we have the capital, which is sorry, the systemic part of control, which is basically the rules and the institutions and the policies that um, make we act in certain way. And finally, we have the affordances or the perceived benefits, which is basically the wants, everything that the students want and the benefits perceived. So this is all the investment students make when they are in our classroom. So how can that we affect our identity? Well, it's because this model challenge us to reflect on the extent to which classroom events and practices are indexical. So if they are, for example, by the situation, or they are just linked to that situation, or if they are more systematic, like people act in certain way. So depending on these aspects, we act in certain way. So that's why it is important to notice that learners are very important when we are in the classroom, and also make part of the construction of our identity. As well as I want to remark two topics that I found very interesting when I was reading the book, and these concepts are the one regarding to the power and to the agency. Well, the first one basically is that we always know that we have certain power when we are in the classroom. So we as teachers, it seems that we have more power than students, but that power changes depending on the students. I don't know if that happened to you, that you act in certain way with some students and then you act in different ways with other students, which is basically the identity you are using with those students. And also the sense of the agency, as we always try to find the best way to deliver the knowledge. So if we are struggle to teach any topic, of if we find students who are struggling with understanding something, well, we try to make the best effort in order to make those students to understand the topic much better. So as a conclusion, I can say that identity comprises cognitive, social, emotional, ideological, and historical factors. They are diverse, dynamic, and changing over time, by the experience, interaction of individuals, environments, and material. That is inherent to our human condition, and also is particular to us. So I hope that after this explanation, you can answer and you can reflect on the question I posed at the very beginning, and you can find your identity much better. So these are the reference, and if you want to explore more on this topic of identity, I highly suggest that you check this book, Reflections on Language Teachers' Identity Research. Um, it's very interesting. And then if you want to explore more on the learners investment, I also suggest to find this research from Norton and Darwin. So thank you so much, and hope you've liked this presentation. Bye.